start the live stream and then we'll get into it. Good. Thank you. All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Service Delivery Committee meeting today, the 18th of June. Great to see you here today, all of you. And I'd like to invite Hinerangi, if you could please open with a karakia for us.
Hatamari kia tātou. Whakataka te hau ki te uru, whakataka te hau ki te tonga, kia mākina kina ki uta, kia mātaratara ki tai. E hia ki ane te atakura, he tio, he huka, he hauhu, ti hei mauri ora. Cease o the winds of the west and of the south. Let the bracing breezes flow over the land and the sea. Let the red-tipped dawn come with a sharpened edge, a touch of frost, a promise of a glorious day. Amine.
Thank you, Hinerangi. That's great. Now, do we have any apologies? I have apologies from Andrew Brown and no other ones. And I see that Liz is online. Hi, Liz. Good to see you here. All right. Could we please have a mover and a seconder? Thank you. So Lou and Bruce, all in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Thank you. Are there any disclosures of members' interests? No, it's cool. Great. And are there any late items? Excellent. So could we confirm the order of the meeting, please? Right, Roger and Susan are going to move in second. All in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against, carried. Thank you. And now we're moving on to the confirmation of our open minutes of our last meeting on the 14th of May. So they start on page 9. They've been pre-circulated, so I take it Roger's got his hand up. So I presume you're going to move that they are a true and correct record? I do. Thank you. And Mike's going to second. All in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Thank you. And now we will go into the Water Services Activity Report. And I've seen Martin Mould there in the seats. Welcome, Martin. Great to have you here today. Thank you for your report. It's pretty comprehensive as usual. So hand it over to you to lead us through it. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Through the chair, so just take the report as read and just those few things of particular note. Obviously the completion of the enabling works at Cambridge Wastewater Treatment Plant, which some of you attended, so that was very good. Continued full drinking water compliance for the year to date. The TMO2 stormwater discharge, the Tatahi water take and Tatahi backwash annual reports show 1 with full compliance and 2 with minor low risk non-compliances, which is a good outcome. And also the staff success at a recent water industry operation group conference, winning the live tapping competition, which is something we're very proud of. And happy to answer any questions from there.
Thank you, Martin. I wouldn't mind seeing one of these live tapping demonstrations. Yeah.
Okay. We can organise it.
Okay. Any questions from the members? I've got a few things that I'd appreciate just some clarification on. Could you just give us a brief overview of what's happening at the Christie Avenue work and also the Mangaohoi stormwater outfall, just those two? Well, I had a query from the public, that's all. So
I can, yep. So it's very minor works going on at the Christie Avenue and Mangaohoi stream. So very minor works are putting in some extra rock riprap around the existing stormwater pipes in 6 locations. That's to protect the stream bed. So it's very minor works, and we've worked alongside NETAL along that. So that's a very minor.
Okay, no, that's good. And then the other query I had was, where are we at with the fluoridation, I suppose, process? Like we were advised from the Ministry of Health that those challenges to do with the judicial review weren't going to be impeding the progress of those particular sites that have been asked to introduce fluoridation, like ourselves. But you gave an update last time, I think, to say that there was design work that still needed to be done. Like you said, we're a long way out before anything would actually be happening here. If you could just give us an update on it.
Yeah, sure. So we're still working through the final design. The Ministry of Health were using a consultant firm to do that. They've just stopped using that external consultant firm. So it's it slowed us down some more because I don't know who's going to be reviewing the designs now at the Ministry of Health.
Oh, okay.
So, but again, once we've got the design approved and the funding approved, we then get 9 months to build it. So it's still quite a way away, and we're still waiting for the outcome of the review.
Okay, thank you. Got Monty and Bruce?
Yeah, thanks for your report, and thanks particularly for the Cambridge wastewater treatment report. It's really nice to know what's going on there. And my question relates to that, and maybe it's a little bit of a detailed one, but could you just explain to me this upcoming key decisions will relate to overarching variations between IFT and IFC drillings? I looked that up and got a million different reasons what IFT and IFC meant, so I thought I'd just ask you instead.
Yep. So as you know, we went through the ECI and we got the contract on board early. And so their price was based around the issued for tender, which IFT drawings. So that's as far as, you know, the design wasn't completed at that time when we got that price. So that's issued for tender, and we've now got that issued for construction drawings. So there will be an expectation that there is some changes between those two sets, which will have a variation cost.
And that variation's nothing out of the ordinary, it's...
No, that was to be expected, yeah, and it's built into the contingency.
Okay,
hopefully.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then Bruce?
My question is pipe cutouts district-wide. How's that process done? Do you just chop a bit out and take it somewhere for the samples to?
Yes, so it's called taking a coupon. So they expose the pipe, and then they cut a small section out, and then repair the pipe where they've cut it out. Yeah.
Yes, Mike.
Yeah, through the chair, Kia ora, Martin. Just about 3.1, it must be, page 6 of your report, just CoLab, the partnership there in Waitomo pulling out. Is there any sort of financial implication, do you think, for us through that happening down the track?
We're still working through what that implication is with CoLab. We're not expecting or would not be prepared to pay any more because of that. Yeah.
Right, beauty, thank you.
Okay. I'd like to ask about the sampling and the analysis that's been done. So this is on page 17 of your report or page 33 of our agenda. It looks like there's quite a big increase in the number of sampling samples that or tests that have to be done, which I presume is because of that compliance regime that we now have with Taumata Arowai. Could you just give us an idea of what the increase has been? So beforehand, before that compliance, kicked in, and now, you know, like, so are you able to quantify, the increase?
Yes.
Yeah.
We will be able to quantify, but I'm not able to quantify this morning.
Oh, okay, right.
Those numbers. But yeah, there has been an increase due to the changes in compliance. So certainly a significant increase there as well. But yeah, I'm not able to quantify that this morning, but I'll get back to you on that.
Yeah, eventually. And what Dawn shared with me is that this only relates to drinking water because there'll be further increased testing needed for wastewater and stormwater as well. So this is just, the thin edge of the wedge, so to speak.
Yes, most definitely.
Yeah, okay. No, thank you. So any other questions? Oh, yes, Lou.
Just a quick question through the chair was just on the Titahi's fish pass. Just what level of construction and how much are we going to have to actually alter that to have that fish pass get up to the resource consent that we need? Is it quite a major effort or is it just something simple?
I think it's quite a major effort in changing that the weir at the moment and in building the fish pass. I'll certainly see if I can get the drawings and circulate them so you can see them.
It's just, as I say, it's something that we might have to budget for at a future date if it is quite considerable. And that's why I was just asking. We need to know. Thank you.
No, thank you for that. So no other, oh, here we go. I've got Marcus.
Any impact on the claims yet on our plant and equipment?
No, we detect a handful probably weekly at the moment, and just at the front end of the plant. They're not causing any issues. We're just trying to organise a camera to go up from Pukarimu all the way up to Parallel Road to see if there's any in the pipe. That's been a bit challenging trying to find a camera that can go 6 kilometres through the pipe, but we're almost close to finding them.
Is there something that we should budget for in the future, Martin? Like put extra funds towards a potential impact on our plant and equipment?
Good question. I mean, at the moment, we're not seeing any impacts. We've not forecast any increased spending currently, but hopefully when we work through to the LTP, hopefully we might be a bit more informed if we need to add any money to the cost. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so I think that's all of the questions. Look, I just want to congratulate your team on the site visit that we had to the Cambridge wastewater treatment plant. Yeah, a lot of us were able to attend, and yeah, it was pretty awesome actually. The scale of the operation, the construction, yeah, is absolutely massive. But just to see all the work that's done there and the pride I think that everyone has in what's being achieved, yeah, it was really great occasion. So thank you very much.
Cool.
Cool. So with that, I've got a recommendation that we receive the report of Martin Mould. Okay, so Mike's going to move, and could I have a seconder, please? Oh, thank you, Bruce. All in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against, carried. Thank you. All right, and now the next item is the Te Awamutu wastewater treatment plant monitoring review. Again, over to you again,
Cool.
Martin,
Yes,
for that.
so I'll present this on behalf of Renee. So for the Te Awamutu wastewater treatment plant, part of our resource consent required us to do this technology and environmental monitoring review every 5 years. So that time has come. It was the consent was granted in 2013. And condition 12 of the resource consent that determines we need to do this review. Also in section L says it requires to come to Service Delivery Committee for their review and feedback and any comments. So I'm not expecting you to have read it and provide comments now, but if you do have any, if you could provide them over the next month, if there is any. It doesn't matter. If there isn't, that's fine. But that would be happy if you've got any comments today, but if not, we can get them in the future.
Okay, okay, Roger.
Yeah, thanks, Martin. I did have a little bit of a read of this, but from your point of view and your opinion, is there anything that's critical within that report that needs to be done?
No.
Thank you.
Okay, Monty.
Yeah, look, I really liked this. It's really nice independent assurance of how we're tracking. So I really enjoyed reading this. Just a question about the stage 4 upgrades that are contemplated. It talks about these looking like they'll be required around 2030. So a couple of questions, sort of, do you agree with that? And is there anything sort of approaching before then that we're going to be looking to do with that upgrade suite?
Yep, so definitely it needs to be completed by 2030. That's one of the consents of the condition as well, and for capacity it needs to be done. And it's in the current LTP for year 2030. So we've just started engaging consultants to refresh the work that was done to say, is it still current that we build it as we predicted in 2018? And also to update the engineer's estimate, because it's probably very light compared. It was prepared in 2018. So ready for our LTB discussions. We'll be coming up trying to confirm what we expect the cost to be.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and I've also thought that the report was, I suppose, a great endorsement of the planning that had gone into the upgrade and how it's operating now, because it looked like, I mean, I was interested to see that there's that review point that new technology and advancements in wastewater treatment, is taken into account, and yet there was nothing recommended, for this plant. So I think it's operating, as best it can be. Yeah, so I think that's great. Yeah, I was pleased to see that. Yes.
Sorry, just thought of one more follow-up. One of the future technology recommendations was gabion baskets to land. Does that mean, as opposed to a water discharge, you're discharging through the gabion baskets on soil somewhere?
Yeah, so currently the discharge team it does go through gabion baskets, but they're right on the edge of the stream. So one of the suggestions could be to move those further back to give a bit of land contact, similar to Cambridge, or not quite a extent slope. Yeah.
Okay, so it's an enhanced discharge to stream rather than a land-based discharge, really.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, So with that, no other comments. So I've got a motion or recommendation that the Service Delivery Committee receives a report of Renee and, Martin standing in for her and provides any comment and feedback. So you've said that if there was any further feedback, that we're welcome to send it through to you.
Yeah. If not, we'll use the feedback game that it's a good report and it's really
Yeah.
pleased with.
Yeah. So can I have a mover and a seconder for that? Thank you, Monty, and thank you, Marcus, is seconding. All in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Thank you. Cool. Now, our next item is on tab 8, which is the Play Spaces Renewal and Development Extension. Looks like it's Eric. It's going to come. Oh, it is Brad. It's Brad. Okay. I saw Mitch O'Brien, so yeah. Brad, I think it's you. Oh, Mitch is here? Yeah, cool, excellent. Oh, yeah, here he comes. We're running a bit ahead of time, aren't we? Yes. Okay, welcome, Mitch. Yes, we've got to your item already. And Chris, yeah, lovely to see you here today as well. Lovely. Yeah, so our item is the Play Spaces Renewal and Development Extension of Contract. So hand it over to you guys to lead us through it.
All right, good morning, everyone. Thanks for the time this morning. So just to go over Play Space Renewal and Development Contract Renewal. So you may recall approximately 12 months ago, I was here seeking an extension to the contract we have with Flula Contracting for the first +1 of the 2-year +1 contract. So this report covers off the second and final contract extension. The contractor has performed extremely well over the last 2.5 years. So we see certainly no reason that the contractor's performance would change over the next 12 months. The contract budgets, as indicated in the report, so they're obviously provisional, subject to approval or adoption of the enhanced annual plan 24-25 later this month. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Roger.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thanks for the report. Really good. I just question the need for the additional funding. I'm trying not to be a Grinch here, but we've just had a rates increase, double figures, which is the largest rates increase. And we, in terms of our strategy, have removed all of non-essential project costs for the coming year. Is it really essential, and I emphasize the word essential, particularly when we look at the fact that a lot of these are renewals of existing playgrounds, that we spend an extra 560,000 on this particular project? I would have thought that we could have achieved a lot with the existing 5.5 million and perhaps save that 560 to increase our capital cushion.
No, I appreciate that. So these budgets were obviously approved during within the current 10-year long-term plan. I think the main aspect here is in terms of maintaining the assets to the correct standard. So we've got issues in terms of having sweated the assets over quite a period of time over the last few years. We're at a point where we have standards and code to comply with. These assets are becoming to the end of their life. If we don't replace them, they are either needing to be removed because at their end of their life they're failing, or they're non-compliant, and there's that safety aspect and implication to them.
But you've got the 5.5 million to achieve that. Is it really essential that we've got that extra 500,000 on top of that? Are our playgrounds in such a state currently that that number need to be renewed?
So certainly the prioritisation around those assets to be replaced is driven out of the asset condition assessment surveys that are done. So that's telling us that they are at the end of their life. And then, of course, the user demand survey. So making sure that we are tailoring the development of these reserve developments at the right level, that we're not exceeding or you know, having an unnecessarily high level of service that we're applying, that this is simply to effectively replace like for like and maintain those assets in good order, in good condition.
Okay, I've got Lou and then Mike.
Yeah, quickly through Madam Chair. Mitch, or just quickly asking you, this would be a normal procedure, like a contingency payment. The increase would be more related to things like inflation and increase in costs. We are doing much the same work as we've planned in our annual plan or our long-term plan.
Yeah, absolutely. This is 100% in alignment with the long-term plan. There's no additional level or gold plating or delivery of a Rolls-Royce solution here that we're attempting, not at all.
Okay, thank you. And then Mike.
Yeah, just through the chair, hey, I'm really comfortable with this. It also does fit in with our philosophy, even in the enhanced annual plan, that we didn't want to reduce service. And what I've heard here is this money is to keep a level of service that the public have been used to. So very comfortable to move it also.
Okay.
Chair.
Thank you. So any other questions? No, so I've got Mike moving and Lou's going to second. All in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against, carried. Thank you.
Thanks all.
Okay, so now our next item is the Cambridge Road urbanisation increase to approve contracts. And this time it's Eric. Welcome, Eric. Nice to see you here today. You're speaking about the Cambridge Road urbanisation contract. So over to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Chair and members of the committee. Yeah, so can I take my report as read? Are there any queries or questions?
Could I just ask, yeah, the source of the increase? Yeah, because, yeah, could you just give us a bit more detail around why the contract couldn't have been completed with the original contract sum?
Yeah.
I think you've listed it, but is it to do with the management of the contract or other circumstances?
Yeah, thanks, Claire. So we had a healthy budget and contingency on this contract that we thought was sufficient to complete the works, but I guess the scope of the work required grew. And I think I've alerted to the first one was building that temporary pathway to the velodrome. That took a lot of extra work than we envisaged, and that was mainly in relation to traffic control.
Oh.
And yeah.
Don't mention traffic control. Yeah.
Yeah, it's back then it was a code of practice that we comply with.
Yeah.
I think the results have been pretty good. And then the other thing, we did a lot of work affecting adjoining properties and Payne Park, the athletics club. So yeah, we did the right thing, I think, in terms of leaving it better than what we did.
So what you're saying actually is that your council was trying to be a good neighbour. Those people that are adjoining the work where it's happening, you've actually worked to make sure they haven't been negatively impacted by assisting some changes on their properties and things.
That's right.
Which I'm pleased to hear that myself. Yes, Roger.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Look, I can appreciate the additional effort that's come into constructing that walkway, and particularly on the traffic management and the number of yellow corns that are around in that particular area. Has the delays that we've appreciated now on the construction of the roundabout, has that had any contributive factor to the completion of this work?
Thanks, Roger. No, not for this contract. No.
Okay. All right, Phil.
Yep, thank you. Thanks, Eric. Along Bryce Street, cycling through there yesterday, will you be remarking that road? Because there's white lines from the existing road. It makes it quite confusing when you're driving and cycling, you're cycling in the park, but driving and things like that.
I'm not
Thanks.
sure whether or not Eric can answer that. I mean, that's a bit off topic.
Right,
Yeah,
okay, yeah, I
Eric,
was
are you
wondering
in-
whether it was, but.
Yeah, are you able to answer it? But if not, I can appreciate why you
Yeah,
can't.
no, I understand.
Through the chair, so thanks, Phil. That relates to the Cambridge Pathway project. And yes, we will be resurfacing all of Bryce Street, Duke Street and Wilson Street as part of our normal, I guess, payment maintenance. So we'll resurface those in the upcoming summer and remark them to the new lines. And that'll deal with that issue.
Not till the summertime.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Right, Mike.
This is a wasted statement, but just to hear that bloody traffic control costing us more money drives me insane. It really does. I pick up on Dawn's comment a week or two ago about, hey, there's some trials of actually trying to get some common sense in this traffic management, and it's not your doing. I just vent my frustration to the world when it comes to this traffic management and the horrendous cost that it costs council in this country. And mate, I mean, Luxon's overseas, so he's not going to hear me, but anyone out there listening to the National Party or whoever, get this under control, people. It is crazy. Seriously, it is.
Susan, are you going to say something there?
Look, yeah, a little bit off topic, but just to let you know that you're not on your own, Councillor Pettit. I've just come back from Wellington, an infrastructure symposium along with staff, and it was certainly a shared view up and down the country, especially at a time when I guess everybody's balance sheet's pretty constrained. So yeah, you're not on your own, and you're sensing that frustration there.
Can I just respond to that? Right. Only this is that I'm taking a glass half empty attitude to this, but I think I should. But glass half full, there's an opportunity for us to make some money. We should have our own traffic management business. If, seriously, there's so much money to be made in this. The new CEO,
Yeah,
I think you should look at that.
Hold that thought, Councillor Pettit. Yeah.
Can I say, at the risk of finding myself in a headline, the Minister for Local Government was actually keen to hear our criticisms of the burgeoning cost of traffic management and plans, and extremely sympathetic.
All right, I hope that that's sort of, dissipated some of the frustration around the room. So with that, I'm looking for a mover and a seconder. All right, Lou, you're going to move and Monty's going to second. All in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Thank you, Eric. All right. And now we have the request for new or change to road names. And James, I'm hoping James Brott is around. Can't see him. We might be moving ahead too quickly. Yeah. Yeah. Should we just take a 5-minute break while we find him, or do you want to move on to the next item? Yeah. Just take a 5-minute break, please. Thanks. We'll see where James is. Moving through it. Excellent. Thank you everyone for coming back so that we can resume our meeting. And our item now is the request for new or change to the road names. And I've got James Brott here and someone else has joined in. So if you could introduce yourselves, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
Madam Chair, councillors. I'm James. This is Harry, my team leader. Apologies for being a little bit late. We got this road naming report in front of you guys. Just a verbal update. Linz has accepted both road names at the proposed locations, meaning there's not similar, or in the surrounding districts, it's not similar. Yeah, Manawatu Whenua have accepted both road names. So it's just over to you guys. I take it the report is read. Cheers.
Thank you, James. Now, any questions? Come to, yes, Monty.
Sorry to be a pain, but can I just get you to explain the process oversight that's referred to here?
So basically, road naming policy came in 2021. That came off of being, it used to just be a list of previously approved names. Now that Manawatu Whenua have to get consulted, if you have two consents coming in at the same time, and say if they're a year apart, previously we check what's currently in our system, and Linz checks what's currently in the wider district system. But if you got a consent that's, say, was done in 2021 and is approved in 2022, but that road name for the 2023 subdivision was basically there's an overlap where there's a gap in our system where that name is not registered, even though it's been accepted by you guys. So now there's a list of previously approved names that aren't in our system yet, but will be in our system, to put it in short. Yeah.
All right. That's a good explanation. And Harry, you're going to add to that.
Yeah, so just adding to that, so we send all the names off to Land Information New Zealand for pre-approval. So essentially they'd pre-approve the same name within our township. So I think that's sort of an ad hoc pre-approval there and now that they provide. So yeah, with our new lists that we've got on our side, it just covers off those gaps. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, oh yes, Susan.
I'm happy to move and I love you, Jersey.
I think, Bruce, are you going to speak to it?
Like where Susan was saying, I said, go the Chiefs.
All right, so you're going to second it?
I'll second it.
Thank you. All right, moving to seconder. Yeah. All in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. Thank you. Appreciate that. Cool. And our next item then is the Cambridge Connections Report, eagerly awaited. And I'm going to welcome, looks like it's Brian and Rachel. You guys have been working hard on this. Thank you. So, yeah, over to you to introduce your report. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll take the report as read, but I do certainly acknowledge.
That is a big ask.
It
actually.
is a big ask.
pretty long report to take us
I
through.
have some highlights and some comments to make through the report. So certainly over that nearly 3 month period, the public our residents have put in a great deal of thought into submissions, so 509 submissions, and covering a really broad range of questions and topics. And it has taken a great deal of time. So we've had a few weeks, since submissions closed to prepare this paper, but it has taken many, many hours to pull together from the feedback all of these themes and numbers and things that you see in this report. So certainly a big effort by the team. And what we've done is we've grouped the submission points and themes by the original options, but knowing that there was plenty of feedback on elements which are not included in the options. So you'll see there's quite a section in there of the various ideas and issues that the residents raise which weren't included in an option. And so we've done our best to categorise that as well into themes. And there's, you'll see in the submissions where people completed a form or the online sort of information, they were quite succinct, but then we also have some members and groups of the public who have, I would say, done a thorough study, and they've got sort of more comprehensive submissions that follow about different ideas how Cambridge transport could be improved in the future. So really, this report introduces that feedback, and we know that we need more time to dig into it in depth. So over the next couple of months, we'll be doing that. And in our August meeting and workshops, we'll be able to come back with, I guess, even more in-depth discussion around the feedback. But in that time, also, councillors will have had time to do plenty of reading as well.
Just on that point, Brian, that process that's planned for in the next few months, those will be open sessions, right? I just wanted to clear that up, that there'll definitely be, people can come along and be present at the meetings or be online, and or even, I guess, be recorded so they can be watched and things like that. So a definitely an open process.
Yes, that's correct. That's our plan. I think the public want to see that their feedback has been well understood and incorporated into the next steps of the process. So, and I don't see any reason why workshops or reports and things won't be completely public.
Okay, thanks. All right, any questions? Now, I understand that Liz is online with a question, so I'll just let her go first. Over to you, Liz, because I can't see you on the screen, unfortunately.
Yes, sorry, Cleve. Can you hear me okay? My video is not so great this morning. You can hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, go ahead, Liz.
Hello. Oh, okay, all right. That's good. Hey, I got a bit of a query. I've got this report, it doesn't, that is obviously.
Liz, can I just pause you there? We're actually struggling to hear all of your words. I don't know if there's any way that you can change here where you're at. It's just that we can't catch every word you're saying. No, that's not any better, I'm afraid. Yeah, what's going on? Yeah, usually you've got really good connections, so I'm surprised about this. Do you want a little bit more time to see if you can change where you're at, and I'll take some other questions and then I'll come back to you. How about that? Okay, so I'll do Susan first, then Roger, then come back to Liz.
Through you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Rachel and Brian, for this report. But I just want to also thank the community for being really engaging in this body of work. Some of the feedback is extremely helpful, and I think I've heard sort of through the grapevine, Brian, that you've acknowledged that there's some really rich and helpful feedback in there, which is a great sort of turn of events, if you like. I also want to really acknowledge you and your team for pulling all of this together. It's not a standard feedback kind of process, but I think you've managed to collate it in a way that is develops those themes and look, I'm just really excited that there's some really valuable stuff in there which will inform our decision making going forward when the time is right. So thank you. That's all I really wanted to say.
Thank you. I'll go Roger, then Liz, then Mike.
Good. Thank you, Madam Chair. Rachel, Brian, tremendous presentation. Thank you very much. I think I read about 80% of the submissions, and I ran out of time, I think, to do the balance. But what I was impressed with the submissions.
Can I just pause you there, Roger? We're talking about feedback, not submissions. I think there are expectations created if we use the terminology submissions. This is feedback. It's a one-way communication to council.
Yeah. I stand corrected. Thank you. You are correct. Yes, feedback. But I was really impressed with the positive and constructive nature of that feedback, and in many cases reflecting a lot of time and a lot of effort that went in. I think the thing that came out to me, there was overall the high level of support for the continuation of the process in identifying the future of the network, and the recognition, although there were a lot of people that commented on the bridge, but there also was a recognition there's a lot of other things as well that are included. And you mentioned, there were many aspects that were included in the feedback that actually weren't requested within the feedback form. And I think that's really positive in going forward. I think one of the things that came out as well to me was the fact, the recognition that really the community are the principal stakeholder in this exercise, and that we really do need to involve them in the future in any future consideration. There's also in there a comment or a feedback that we've got to address the current process, the current network challenges as well. So it's not just about the 50-year vision, it's about a process for the looking at the network going forward. And also that everybody realizes that in 30 years' time, Cambridge is going to be different to what it is today, and that any future network has got to be an integrated private vehicle, public transport, cycling and walking integrated network. So yeah, really great, and looking forward to the next stage.
Thank you, Roger. No response. I just want to check with Liz online. Liz, are you able to? Oh, you've dropped out. Okay. All right. So now, so the other people I had was Mike Pettit and then Phil.
Thanks through the chair. Hey, thanks for the extensive report, Brian. But also, as been alluded to, not just yourself, but your whole team. Hey, it's been, it's been challenging. Let's face it, some of this has been challenging. But the good thing I think about the feedback that's come in is it shows Cambridge's, and it wasn't all from Cambridge, the scattergraph proved that there was people from all over the district that fed into this, but predominantly a lot of people from Cambridge fed into that feedback. And it just shows the passion of, I guess, the importance of the work that's being done. It shows the commitment that the folks at Cambridge have towards their town and have done over the last sort of 150 odd years or so. I was impressed with the sort of holistic feedback, like the wide views of not just, as you've alluded to, what was the Cambridge Connections work, but also other ideas that were fed in there by a number of people. And as Roger's alluded to, there's the sort of here and now and that sort of whole parking thing and those sorts of things came up. So the LTP, will be challenging because some of this stuff will have to be addressed in the shorter term rather than the really long term. So again, just to all those people that did feedback, it will be listened to. It has been listened to. It was a good reset for us. I'd also like to thank the staff for, I guess, taking on board the recommendation initially by the Cambridge Community Board and by Council to really extend out that feedback period, because I think those 500 plus pieces of feedback maybe wouldn't have all come through if we didn't extend it out. So it's hopefully appreciated now by staff, obviously, because of the quality of, but also definitely by the submitters.
Thank you. I've heard that Liz is online again, so I'd like to give her the opportunity to speak, and then I'll give to Phil. Liz, over to you. Maybe not. Is she there? No.
Hi, Claire, is that better?
Yes, that is better, Liz.
No, I've done a chat.
You've done a chat. Okay.
I have done a chat. It's probably easier if I went through that.
Okay.
Can
all
you
right.
read it?
Well, I can't see it myself, but I'm hoping that one of the governance team. Oh, anyway, Brian would like to say something.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I did see it come up on the big screen, and it did say
okay.
she wanted to note in the resolution that this was an interim report on the feedback.
Oh, okay. All right. And I'll just check that that's fine to make that. Well, I mean, it is pretty clear in the report that this is just sort of the first cut and there'll be more coming. What is the rest of the... We can discuss that as a group once I've heard the other people what the questions have got, because at the moment I've got, Phil, you're waiting.
Yep, thanks, Madam Chair, and thanks for your report and work and everything that you and your team have done with this. Got a quick comment and then a question, but yeah, it's great to see all this feedback from the community and some really good constructive feedback and the passion behind it. And it's really important that we work alongside the community on this and many other projects in the future. But the question I have on page 100, on the 5th paragraph there, said a full report will be completed on the business case. So I'm really in favour of having meetings and workshops open, but would there be an opportunity for us to have a really informal workshop with whiteboards and things all around the place that we can thrash out all the comments and put down, just write down all the various comments and have a really open, informal workshop discussion, brainstorming event, or not event, but opportunity in the future, in the next few months or something like that? Would there be an opportunity like that, which would probably be more enclosed, you know, would just be closed, but yeah.
Yeah, I think we'd have to sort of take that under advisement, Phil. I think that process going forward. We obviously want to agree a robust process and get all of the views, but I think as much as possible, we want to keep all of the discussions completely open because we have, you know, heard from people that they want more transparency around this project. So it would certainly be my goal to try and keep as much of it completely open as possible. And I'm
in favour of that, formal workshops and meetings and things like that. But and it's not to hide anything from anybody. It's just so that we can just have a really robust conversation. It may help with their feedback, our feedback, everybody's thoughts and comments. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Lou, do you want to say something?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I firstly want to congratulate everybody in their, putting in their thoughts and ideas. And I think this indicates to all of the council that we need to take consideration of what we've been showing. I just think of one thing here. There's quite an interesting one on north-facing ramps on Tirau, and with the Paieri being constructed and being given priority, perhaps there's an opportunity to have some planning done there. It was just one of the things that they thought of. And that had some positive, to me, it takes the heavy traffic away from the main street now, but that can help a lot. So it's just a thought of a simple person living outside the district, but I think it had, quite a bit of merit.
Just on that, thanks, Lou. I think, Brian, you have said that it's been really valuable, the stuff that's come through, and even though it might have been not quite within the parameters of the particular topics you're looking at, that you do actually be looking at ways to incorporate those suggestions and wider work that your team will be working on. Is that correct?
Yes. Yeah, that's correct, Madam Chair. For that example of on-ramps and off-ramps at Tirau Road, that's something that obviously has been considered in the study work to date, and we've got opportunity, I guess, to consider that further as we go forward. Yep.
Yeah, thanks. Now, Susan, did you have another comment?
Yeah, I was just going to say I don't have any opposition to including the word interim as suggested by Liz, because it does say that there's going to be a full report later on. So I think that's an addition that's great. So all fine, acceptable to me. I don't see any.
Oh, well, I have actually had some advice from governance that it's not necessary because it's clear from the report that there will be, yeah, so at the moment, the advice I've got is that it doesn't need a change. I appreciate Liz suggesting it, yeah, but they're definitely, it's not really needed, yeah. Okay.
I'm fine with that. Either way, to be fair, it's pretty clear. It's coming back anyway.
All right, well, look, another comment, Phil?
Oh, I was just going to say I'm very happy to
move?
To move the report.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thorough report, so thank you.
And Roger's going to second. All in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Thank you. Yeah, so you've got a lot of work ahead of you. Yeah, but wish you the best. And I'm pretty excited actually to see this unfold and, yeah, looking forward to your future reports. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, so now our next item is the memorandum of understanding for safety camera operations and enforcement on Waipa roads. Brian, you're staying there, so I guess that you are going to be speaking to this.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm not sure that Sergey's joining us online, but it's really a rather simple paper here. So we know we have one safety camera on our network at the moment, which is on Cambridge Road, and that has in the past been managed by New Zealand Police. And of course, the sort of reform and changes in that area is that the New Zealand Transport Agency, Waka Kotahi, will manage safety cameras like that going forward. So this is a simple document which sets out an understanding between the parties about what their responsibilities are, so that they can continue to maintain that safety camera, and in the future, if they decide that they would like additional safety cameras anywhere else in the district, then we have a mode of operating to allow that to occur.
Thank you. So any questions?
No, I'm delighted with this. I'm happy to move.
Thank you.
Happy to second. Where did you say that camera was? Sorry.
So on the Te Matu Cambridge Road, just near the McLaren Road intersection.
I'm sure you know where it is, Phil. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, no, I see that one. Yeah.
Okay, so I've
Thank
got
you.
a mover and a seconder. All in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Thank you. All right, so our next item is tab 13, Local Water Done Well, project plan, and Sharon's coming to the hot seat. Welcome, Sharon. Over to you. Thank you.
Good morning. So this report is giving you a bit of an update on where we're at with our Local Waters Done Well and a draft project plan that we've put together. It's also seeking to approval to set up a governance group for this Local Water Done Well. So where we're at the moment, we've developed our draft project plan, which is Appendix 2 on this report, and 1, and then we've done the draft terms of reference as well for the governance group. I'll take those 2 items as read and take any questions of those. Our key objectives from the plan is really looking at our preferred option for our future delivery plan that we need to do. So currently the timeframe of that is looking probably August 2025, once it's 12 months from once the legislation's passed. So quite a short timeframe to turn that around, and just mindful that we're also running an LTP at the same time, so putting those both in together. So yes, the first part is and delivering it in those timeframes. So happy to take any questions on the report.
Okay, Monty.
Thank you. I got a little confused between what's happening with Waipa and what's happening with Waikato Water Done Well. And the 2 tracks seem to overlap. The timetabling almost seemed a bit incompatible. Can you elaborate on that?
Okay, so Waikato Water Done Well is the group of the 10 councils currently working with CoLab. So that project's been managed by CoLab. The mayor's and iwi's involvement in that. So we've got that alongside. So they're developing potentially various different models. So the 10 councils, or it could be 2, it could be Hamilton with 1. So there's all options that have been looked at in that regard. But alongside of that, we also need to think about Waipa and what we're looking to do going forward. So what's best for Waipa? What do we want? So potentially we could decide to go with the Waikato one once that bit more work's done in that space, or we might decide to look at our own options going forward. So this project is trying to combine both those pieces of work into one and to make that decision.
But some of the critical decision points in the Waikato Water Done Well are so early. Like I was just struggling to find it. There's an opt-in or opt-out like 3 months away, and we won't be sufficiently advanced in our own investigations to be anywhere near a position to make that determination. You're nodding.
No, I totally agree with you. So whether the Waikato Water's done well, they might look at their timeframes a little bit and push that out now that the legislation, because originally it was going to be 30th of June, we're sort of looking that 2025 would have to deliver by. So we're a couple of months post that now. So I think potentially they will maybe look at their timeframes to give each council a little bit more option. But I think each council is also looking at it in regards to themselves and what's best for themselves at the same time.
Look, I understand the time constraints because the whole thing's over a year, and if you're trying to do it at a district council level and also at a regional level at the same time, it's awfully constricted. So you think we can run these two at the same time and not trip over ourselves or get put into a position where we're forced to make decisions when we're not ready and stuff?
So I think that we need to look at both options at the same time, definitely. And then when we get to that stage where we need to make that decision with the Waikato Water's done well, hopefully we'll have enough information to pull that together. We're quite in a good place in regards to the information that we've currently got. So we've got good asset management plans. We've done a lot of work with DIA and the National Transition Unit when we were looking at the NTDB situation, and we've got access to all of that information as well. So as far as our current stage and where we're at and our levels of service, our compliance and that, all that information is there. It's just pulling it all together into a suitable format. And the Waikato Water's done well is doing a similar thing alongside.
And I get the impression that they've got to the point of some preliminary kind of position, the Waikato Water done well, but it says in here it's not a public document yet.
Yeah, that's correct.
When can we expect to see that? Because
so July the 22nd.
22nd, yeah.
Yeah, is when that will come out.
Okay, thanks, Monty. Now I've got Roger.
Yeah,
and then
thank you, Madam
Susan.
Chair. Really support this, really do. I think it's great that we're starting to look ourselves at what's going to be best for Waipa and for our residents. And I was just going to make comment that you've just actually made, that in fact the other territorial authorities and city councils are actually looking at it themselves in parallel with the Waikato Water's well done going ahead. So I think it's equally important that we are informed with our circumstances so that when we come to a decision, then obviously we can make that decision being better informed. So that's good. Really support this. Thank you.
Do you have any comments, Susan? I wasn't sure if you were wanting to. Oh, sorry.
I just wanted to just clarify that, yeah, the next Mayoral Forum on the 22nd of July will have this body of work come back before us. The analysis for the Waikato Water Done Well document has been quite challenging. Obviously, that's there are a number of territorial authorities to take into account, all with different challenges and different financial strategies. I understand too. So, look, meeting with Minister Brown recently, alongside a group of mayors from that, or delegation of mayors from the Mayoral Forum, we had really productive conversations with him. And look, it's pretty clear that it's not as though come July 22, we have to suddenly all say, yes, we're all in this together. I mean, the legislation is still to be finalised. It's more a case of tracking and accepting that there could be a clear stage process over quite some time. And if you look at any amalgamation of any kind of services in New Zealand, and I assume internationally, it very rarely happens all together at day dot. It's a staged process over time, and if we can have some involvement in co-designing an arrangement that we may at some point in time opt into, I think it's more likely to be or spell success for our residents and ratepayers than not.
Thank you. Now, Lou, did you have something?
Well, I just totally concur with what you said here, Susan. And I just wanted to make the point quickly that we're going to see changes in the rules that we're dealing with, the funding that we're dealing with. So we're talking of something quite nebulous at the moment. So to actually have anything fixed is absolutely impossible. And I agree with what you just said about, I say most of the mayors would be exactly like you, Mayor Susan. We'd want to actually discuss this over time and with the legislation that we're presented with.
Okay, thank you. I've got a few questions, Sharon. I've been looking at the, well, firstly, I'm pretty excited to see this. I've been feeling that Waipa should be doing a close look at their own water business first before making a commitment or setting themselves up and forwarding themselves so that we can make the right decision when a proposal does come from Waikato or whatever. So I do think this work is essential, really. I have some questions about the terms of reference because I recall the original proposal from Wix, so this was the central government or DIA-led reform. It wasn't a complete model of our water business. It didn't cover the way we handle growth, you know, for water infrastructure. And I suspect the same issue might be present in the Waikato one, because I'm hearing it's of the complexity. They might be looking at residential users. But I'm really concerned that the work that we do has to cover how we would handle growth infrastructure as well. Yeah, and not saying that we need to keep it close and all that, but just understand what arrangements would be, I suppose, needed or how it would be managed in a broader CCO or something like that. So I'm concerned that that should be part of the terms of reference. And then I'm also looking at the investigation options, which that's on page 868. It's termed that there's a list there of investigation of these options will include looking at future challenges, including like compliance, workforce availability, investment, all that kind of thing. So it sounds like it's not an exhaustive list. So I'm wanting it to be open to other things that might come out of our work. For instance, our industrial customers or the share of revenue of user types, whether or not, I suppose I've got, whether or not we should look at the dynamics of a joint CCO arrangement, you know, like priorities of others, yeah, whether or not there's any appetite to set up some efficiency and performance measures, you know, benchmark, for instance, with the World Bank or something, and I suppose technological opportunities. Yeah, so those are just a few things. I'm just wanting to be reassured that the list that you've got there is not set in concrete, that it can be expanded if, as the project work proceeds, it looks like some of this other stuff might be useful to help us form an opinion.
Yeah, for sure. Like it's only a draft at this stage. Yeah, and until we get all the legislation and that finalised as well, it's hard to know what else is going to be pulled in or taken out. So it's sort of a bit of a moving feast at the moment that we're just sort of working through as we go. And I suppose just to be really clear, this part of the project is really the step one. It's to get our water services delivery plan done for that legislation. And then there'll be a separate project to actually implement whatever that plan turns out to be.
Right.
So yeah, that'll be another project once this part's done, but this is purely just to get us to that legislation timeframes and to produce a plan that's really good for Waipa and it's meaningful and helps us to plan going forward.
Okay, and I see some of those options are to consider working with a small number of neighbouring councils or something like that to look at that option as well. Yeah, yep. Okay, cool. That's reassuring. That's great. Thank you. All right, so any other questions? Yes, Roger.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. It's a question about just looking at the paper and the fact that you've got an end date or a completion date of the report of 30th of June 2025 and the uncertainty that's there. Now, this year we actually had an enhanced annual plan. We're looking at doing a 10-year plan throughout the next 12 months, but I just get the feeling that there's still going to be a lot of uncertainty in this next 12 months as to where we go for the next 10 years. So that just a little bit concerns me. So you know, I'm just putting that on the table that we all need to consider that uncertainty going forward for the next 10 years. Yep.
And just through the chair, that's certainly a risk that's been identified on both projects as well. We need to sort of work together on those and see how they align. So when we did this report, we had June 2026. Obviously now that the legislation hasn't been in place yet, that's looking more like August.
Yeah. Thanks for highlighting that, Roger. I noticed that you didn't offer a solution.
Oh.
No, that's good.
No, I don't. Yes, I'll give that some thought while the next couple of weeks.
It feels like the only certainty is uncertainty right now, has done for the last few years, right?
Okay, so I think we've had really good discussion. Thank you. And I'm looking at the recommendation now. So there's just a couple of things that I'd like to raise. Firstly, there's just a typographical correction that's needed at point B, and that is right at the end of that clause. There's recommendation E, but it should actually be recommendation F. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. The second thing I'd like to just put out there is the number of councillors that would be on that group, mainly because I don't have it against any councillors wanting to be on there. I'd love it to have really good participation. I'm just looking at the overall size of the group. Yeah. So I don't know if there's any comment that people have, you know, like, do you think it's absolutely essential that we have the mayor as one and then 4 elected members as well? You know, like, yeah.
It's an important decision.
Yeah, I can't agree more actually, Roger. Yeah, but good to get your thoughts on that.
I would like to put some thoughts on. I think the idea of 4 is quite good actually, because you will have situations where somebody is like an apology or can't get in there, and it won't fit everybody. We've only part-time here, and as I say, we have other commitments, and so it does allow for that, you know, that process to be developed.
Okay, no, that's cool.
Can I just make a comment that I think whoever is on there, it will entail a lot of learning and a lot of information that's got to be absorbed. So
okay, thank
be
you,
quite
Roger.
a commitment.
Yeah, now, Mike?
Yeah, through the chair. Yeah, hey, I totally pick up on Roger's comment there. When I started looking at this more in depth, I realised how much I don't know, not how much I do know. So I totally genuinely pick up there that whoever's on this thing, there is going to be a lot of new learning to really probably catch up on for probably most people that go on this. Hey, just a couple of things. So I just want to touch outside of that is, hey, great to see that the manager for comms and engagement is not officially part of this group, but is basically sitting around the table. I think we've talked about that and it's really important for these big major projects. That local water's done well, that funding of 327,000, you think that's more than enough to sort of cover off any costs that will be incurred?
So through the chair, I think that'll get us to the stage of our delivery plan delivered, and then what happens after that, obviously we'll need to.
Yeah, sure. And the last thing really to tag onto a couple of comments is this group could go on for a bit longer than so I think continuity, and of course we're elected members, so there's no guarantee of continuity, but I think that is something we need to sort of think about with this group, that hey, if there's 4 people on there, it would be good to have some continuity from election to election.
Yeah, right. Looks like you are setting yourself up for re-election.
Regrettably, we can't. None of us can guarantee any of that, Mike. Look, my feeling is that it might be too big in terms of the number. I'd be comfortable with reducing it to the mayor plus 3 elected members. Otherwise, it feels a little bit as though half the council is privy to this information and the other half isn't. And I don't know that that's really the position we want to be in. And secondly, it's only a recommendatory body. It's not a decision-making body. So I think you run the risk of it getting too wieldy with 4. That's my humble opinion. So I would recommend we reduce it to the 3. And could I nominate? Be so bold as to nominate. Actually, I won't do that until such stage as there's agreement as to whether it's 3 or 4, because I could offend people.
Okay, all right, I've got Roger, Monty, and then Marcus.
Yeah, and I'm just kind of referring back on the Cambridge connections and the level of communication between the group and the Hall of Council. And whoever sits on this particular group, I would really encourage that the other councillors that are not on the group, that we're kept informed and engaged with the process as it goes through.
All right, thank you. Monty and then Marcus.
I just have a little bit of a view on the size of the group. I'd probably support Mayor Susan and probably go for 3. And the reason for that is you don't want an A and a B team developing around council, and 4 is quite a high proportion of council, and so you end up with those who do know versus those who don't. This follows your point, Roger. If you are on this, it's really incumbent upon you to make sure that you are sharing your knowledge and upskilling around the table. So, and I tend to think that happens better if you get a slightly smaller group who are committed to doing that.
Okay, thank you. And then Marcus? Okay, all right. Yes, Hinerangi.
Kia ora. I note from your report that you've indicated that consultation with iwi partners will be undertaken. Who are the iwi partners you're referring to, and how will the iwi representative be elected?
Okay, so through the chair, we're still actually working through that. So we haven't had, I think that'd be one of the governance groups probably first decisions as to how that's going to feed through. But yeah, Dawn, I don't know if you've got any more comments.
Okay, and I'm sure that we'll be getting some good advice on that, but if you've got some suggestions, and we were probably going to rely on Dale Marie as well for some pointers as to appropriate places to seek, yeah, is that okay? Yeah, excellent.
Perfect.
Thank
Kia
you.
ora.
All right, all right. So with that, we, I don't know if any people want to put their names forward. Oh, yeah. Have you got some nominations?
Oh, can I be so
Susan?
bold as suggest some nominations, or we'd all be, we could be here a while looking at our shoes, being all very,
So humble, yeah.
very coy.
Right.
Could I suggest Liz, Monty and yourself, Chair Claire, to be the 3 councillors on this group?
Yeah, all right, yeah.
Just
maybe
ask a
that-
question,
Oh.
just a quick question. Did we need to, so if we change this amendment, do we actually need to move and second that we've reduced the amount of councillors?
I'll seek some advice from
No,
governance.
it's just a regular amendment like we always.
Oh, okay, all right, so we can just, yeah, reduce that number, we can just, yeah, it's all right. Yeah, yeah, okay, that's cool. All right, so anyway, so what's the, yeah, you happy with that? People are comfortable with those? Yeah, Monty, yeah. it's
Oh,
important
look, I
you're
just
happy.
want to, I really want to do this, okay? This really spins my wheels. It's hard infrastructure and business intersecting, and it's, yeah, that's why I'm here.
Okay, cool, and Liz is smiling online too, so she's obviously agreeable to it, yeah.
I think it's very important too, Madam Chair. Having someone like yourself has worked with CCOs originally, the original proposal. So you've got some idea of what we have proposed. So I
Tell
think
you what,
it's
I've got
great.
all those files back at home. I'm happy to bring them in and share them with everyone. Yeah.
Fresh eyes, Claire, fresh eyes.
Yeah. Okay, so it seems to be, yeah, a good level of comfort that those will be the 3 councillors? Yeah, okay, so you're happy to move that? Okay, with that minor amendment, and Roger's going to second. All in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. Thank you. Thank you, Sharon. Yeah, no doubt we'll be seeing lots of you in the future as well. Thank you very much. Okay. Oh, yes, and we'll be seeing you at our workshop later on today, won't we? Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'm on tab 14 now for the reclassification of the segregation strip, and we've got Harry back. Welcome back. And I'll, yeah, let you speak to your item. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I present the report on reclassifying the segregation strip reserve and incorporating it into the road reserve, and I'll take the report as read. And any questions? Thank you.
Any questions from the committee? Could I just ask, like, is this a normal thing that's often before council, or the classification of these strips is a commonplace thing, or are there special circumstances in this case, stuff like that? Yeah.
So in terms of segregation strips are often just sitting there and don't really do much. But in this circumstance, an adjacent property owner is looking to gain access to the road. And yes, it was imposed in 1997. And if you know that sort of Mangakawa Road, it's had a lot of upgrades with widening, centre marking. The speed limit's been dropped from 100 to 60, and it's gone from sort of rural production area to a little village almost of large lots. So yeah, it's removing this sort of, I guess, burden on the adjacent property owners, and yeah, incorporating it into our road reserve.
Okay, so the original reasons for having the strip there have moved on, like the whole environment has changed and the road's been upgraded and there's no safety issues or anything like that with allowing further access?
Yeah, that's correct. It's and we've assessed it against all the current road safety guidelines, sort of, the Waka Kotahi's visibility requirements and Austroads, the sort of international roading standards, and gone through that and been out to look at it and see that it's no longer required.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Bruce.
Harry, you say there hadn't been a speed reduction down from 100 to 60. Would that have been able to happen? Would we have been able to discuss this if it was still 100? I know, I fully agree with what's being proposed, but I just wondered if it was still 100, would that have been able to happen?
Okay, so through the chair, probably from the measurements from memory, I don't think we would quite meet the threshold for 100 kilometres an hour. And people probably do drive slower now with all the houses and the entranceways. And just for, I guess, further information, we don't take, I guess, the speed limit and the operating limit are different things. So sometimes if there's a tight corner, it'll be lower than the speed limit, or sometimes places that we know people might travel in excess of the speed limit, we bump up the operating speed, which could be above the speed limit. So yeah, that all factors in what is the reasonable, what is the reasonable speed that someone driving on that road would be travelling at. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, so with that, I'm just looking for a mover and a seconder for the recommendation then. Thank you, Phil, and a seconder. Thank you, Bruce. All in favour, please say aye. Against, carried. Thank you. All right, now the next item is to exclude the public. And what I could do then is we've got time to also confirm the PE minutes before we break for morning tea, and then we could actually close the meeting because we've got a workshop after the meeting. So I'm planning to do that. All right. So I've got a resolution to exclude the public. Thank you, Mike. And second, Phil, thank you.